when the club eventually gets into the Premier League,
no pressure.
Will it be able to compete from a financial perspective against other major clubs such as the Arsenals, Chelseas, Liverpool and Manchesters of this world? Or will it require major investment from people such as yourself?
My wife says when we get to the Premier League, I'm off. Yeah, she says it'll take lots of investment, but not from me. No, I think seriously, Huddersfield Town, as much as I love the club and whatever, I think it's got certain limitations. And I think for one, the clubs which really sustain Premier League football without a big foreign investor coming in, i.e. clubs in big cities, big fan base, and unfortunately we may get 12,000–14,000 a week. It's not quite enough. Even 20,000 is not sustainable in the Premiership. So I think we've got to live within our means, and I think our blueprint is, if we ever got to the Premiership, we would probably do the same as a Blackpool have done, and let's just see how it goes. Because what you don't want to do is like a Bolton Wanderers, where if they now get relegated, they've got that much debt, their wage bills are that high, it's incredible. To me, the biggest fear is you survive in the first year, and by hook or crook, you don't get relegated, you're in the Premiership for the second year. And like Bradford City, they went out and they bought Carboni and they lost the plot, and they're probably still paying for it as we sit here today. So I think, like of anything else, I think you've got to be realistic where you go with it. If you're lucky enough to achieve that goal, then enjoy it. But just remember who you are, and you don't want short-term gain for long-term pain. And there's too many football clubs now who've had the short-term gain, and the pain's been long, and we want to avoid that here really. So no, we can't compete with Man U.
Put that into business though as well, in life.
I think in life, I have a few sayings. I think you're a long time dead is one of them. That's my favourite, and you are, to be honest. My mum died at 66 years old about 4 years ago. Never saw me take over the football club. Never saw me sell a card factory. And you think, life's very short. But at the same time, I think you've got to live life for today, but remember there's a tomorrow. And I think you've got to put it all into perspective. So yeah, you are quite right, with football, with business, you've got to live within your means. And I think the reason the country and we are lots of individuals, because we've always been living beyond our means, but that's life, we've all done it, we've all done it, and we are where we are, and it's going to be a tough few years, a very tough few years. And it's not something we're going to, I believe, escape from for the next 2 or 3 years at least.
Have you got a plan for when the club will be in the Premiership? Have you set a target?
No, I don't think you can, and I think it's impossible to set targets, because I think you kind of, for one, you delude yourself, and I think you put too much pressure on yourself. A target with Card Factory, I set a target with Card Factory. We opened our first store in Wakefield, 1st November 1997, and that night I went over to Janet's parents in Preston, because they're looking after our son. There was only two of them, and we counted the money, £1,421. He said to me, "What do you think?" I says, "Yeah, my dream." I said, well, "This is going to work." She said, "So what's your plan?" And this is no word of a lie. I said, 10 shops in 10 years. And she went, "That's a bit optimistic, isn't it?" There you go. Which I keep, because she does like name dropping. That's my son-in-law. "Barbara, you did say 10 shops." I know I said that, but yeah, so you've got to set yourself goals, but they've got to be realistic goals.
I like how you remembered £1,421.
34p? Tell you.
What tangible advice would you give to hopeful starters? But I would also add into that people who have got businesses and are feeling a bit, they don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And they see you as a successful entrepreneur as millions of miles away from where they'd like to be. What tangible advice would you offer to them now?
Well, I think if you go back to the scenario as I spoke of before, where if you feel you're in this for the right reasons, and it's not just the easy option. Yeah, if you feel you really want to run your own business, and I remember it was a simple, my drive right at day one was simple, as I used to work in a factory, and it was a dirty old factory, and the windows were black, and I used to go out the door at 4:30 and see daylight, and I thought, I saw this business for the sale in the Yorkshire Post, and that's where I first started, 1992, 24 when I started. And it was a business selling greeting cards in the back of a van, and I just thought, I could be out in the fresh air, and it's up to me, and I can really make a go of it. So I think you've got to try and think to yourself, if you're in it for the right reasons, you're okay. I think secondly, you've got to believe in yourself. I think you've got to have some determination, because let's be fair, you're going to need some next few years. I think, I've nearly forgot the question you asked then. What was the last part? The last bit you said.
What advice you give to them?
To them?
Yeah.
I think that's the part you asked me. How you look at me and you think, well, I'm here. Well, how on earth do you get there? People say to me, did you ever imagine you'd achieve what you achieved with Card Factory? Absolutely no chance. If I had started off in '97 with Card Factory, I never thought to myself, that's really, I want to have 500 shops in 12 years. I'd have deluded myself. You know, it was one step at a time. But with every step became confidence. My bank balance went up a little bit more, and I started building a brand, and it was like a snowball which wouldn't stop rolling, and it got bigger and bigger and faster and faster and faster. So I think you haven't got to have any grandeur ideas of I want to be up there. One step at a time, get those things right, but at the same time, don't forget when you grow, you've got to get infrastructure right, because if you're not careful, the higher the pole goes, with no weld around the bottom, it's going to fall over. You've got to make sure as the pole goes up with your business, you've got to get infrastructure around. If you get the right balance, you'll be fine. But one step at a time, and anything's achievable. And to be honest, I used to go to Hempmite Secondary, and I didn't particularly achieve a lot at school. I know you hear these people talking cliches. If I can achieve what I've achieved, anybody can, but you've got to have that determination.
What do you think makes the difference then? If anyone can do it, why doesn't everyone do it?
Everybody has an opportunity in life. Some take it, some don't. And that's the bottom line.
Do you not create your own opportunities as well?
Yeah, and the opportunity may not be the first thing you try. You know, I've been lucky, the first thing I tried, it kind of went that way. You hear many people say, you know, I'm name dropping now, but I went to with Richard Branson in February to Africa a year ago. And I don't name drop. But it was interesting. We were sat here, I was there listening to him, yeah. And he said he had 3 or 4 failed businesses before he even got, is it Tubular Bells and Mike Hoyle, and that kicked him off. Yeah. He tried all sorts, but he knew he had the determination to achieve, but it didn't all come in the first time. So, you know, if you're not successful the first time, something else will try. But if you're an entrepreneur, you'll keep trying. And when you find the opportunity, you'll make sure you drive it in, and you'll make it work. So it may not happen the first time. I was lucky.
No matter how nicely you try to treat people around you, some people can still shock you at how they treat you in return. Did this ever worry you? And more importantly, how did you respond? It drove me on, to be honest. Lots and lots of people have tried to shaft me. And let's go back to Hallmark, yeah? They tried to shaft me with the biggest pole you've ever seen. Hey? But they made it. And you know something? When I sold the business last Easter, I got 1 or 2 phone calls, but I didn't get many, you know, because the whole industry tried to stop Card Factory. Because the reason being, the whole industry relied on Clintons because they were the biggest. They were about to go pop, and they really tried to stop us doing what's actually eventually happened. Not many people rung me up, but I made a point of making sure I told them all how much I'd sold for and what I'd done, because I had to bite my lip, my tongue, everything for lots and lots of years. And I've never been one of these to shout from the rooftop, but it's those people who've doubted me, who said to me, you can't do it. Right even down to school, right even down to all those people who've doubted me. And some have been, I can't say everything, but pretty nasty along the way, let's be fair. When I signed, when I got the cheque, it just, I don't know, it was like, that was my moment to say, seriously. But to be honest, for 14 years, being silent in my right, I'll show you, determination, that really did it in the end. So yeah, lots of people have shafted you. And let's be fair, you can't grow a business from where I started to where I ended up without people trying to stop you. Because any business, if you're successful and you grow, there will be a point in your growth cycle where your competitors will come down on you so hard you won't know what's hit you. Be prepared for it, because they will.
Well done.
Yeah, prepared.
Is that the determination again then, from the start to the finish?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And to be honest, I don't know how much time we've got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It all goes back to my mum, to be honest, and I don't know how many people know this, but in the 60s, my mum was a single parent, and in the 60s I lived in one yard with my mum, and my grandma lived in another yard, and do you know the mermaid fish restaurants in Morley? But we used to live in the terraced houses, bang opposite in Britannia Square. It was like shame on the family. So I was born into I think it was a mother and parents, mothers and sons and daughters' house in Halifax, this home where they send you away to be born. And I was supposed to be adopted to a doctor in Edinburgh. And you only find this later on in years, that my mum really fought. She saw the potential, but no. Yeah, she's like, hey, it's better than I thought. No, sorry, right with ginger ale. So yeah, she fought like mad to keep me when I was actually supposed to be shipped off on the train up to Edinburgh. And I think that determination has really come from my mum. And it's a shame she probably isn't here to see what's really happened. So yeah, you got determination, but you can't allow, going back to the story before, you can't allow other people to try and tell you what to do in your own business. You've got to do your own thing. And the best way of gauging is gut feeling. Yeah. That is the thing which tells you whether you're doing it right or wrong. Forget what people tell you. It's your gut feeling, and you'll know. If you're a right true entrepreneur, you'll know what's right and what's wrong. So yeah, plenty of determination. You've got to have determination. So when sales aren't good, you've got to hang in there, and you've got to go for it. Because I'll tell you something, being your own boss is a much better alternative than working for somebody else. And I think one of the best things I've got in my life is for 14 years, every Sunday night when I went to bed, I never didn't think to myself for once, oh God, it's work in the morning. My problem is, when I finished on Friday, I couldn't wait for Monday. Not my problem. It was fantastic, and what a great feeling that. What a great feeling.